If you're going to use the server for testing your PHP files, you'll have to set it up first. The first step is go to mccdgm.net/cpanel. This will let you log in. Your login should be your first initial and your last name, unless you're an instructor, in which case it's only your first name. That's how I separate the two. So I'm going to log in with Mary, but if I was logging in with my student account, it would be M. Winchester, and putting in my password. If you haven't reset it already, the initial password is JavaScript, all lowercase. Now, many of you may have already taken other web design classes. And in the digital media department, this is our standard server for any web class. You can ignore most of the things here. You're just going to go to File Manager, Web Root, public_HTML www. You just want to make sure that you're in here and your password works. It may prompt you, it should prompt you to change your password right away. What I request that everybody does is set up folders for each class that they take. So I have ones for JavaScript, and this one is PRG148. This is the folder that I have created for the PHP class. It's very important that you create a folder and that you have no capitals, no spaces. To create a folder, you'll choose New Folder and give it a name. I'm just going to call mine PHP2 since I've already got work in mind. You want to call yours PRG148. So PRG148, I'll call it 148-2. You can use dashes and underscores in file names. And it's going to be put in the public HTML folder. That's how you create a folder. Now again, I don't really want to use that one, so I'm going to delete that. At some point, I will delete all of the files in your cPanel after the class is over. I go through and wipe everything out in August. When you're done with the class, to back everything up, you will select your folder, choose Compress, and give yourself a zip or a tar depending on if you're Mac or PC, and it will compress everything for you into a zip file which you can then download. You'll want to do that before the end of the class so that you have a backup of everything when you're done, because I will wipe the server. So make sure that it's set up, make sure that you're in the public HTML folder, and that you have a PRG148 folder created. Now I'm going to show you how to set this up using Dreamweaver. And Dreamweaver is my preferred online programming environment. You're going to start by creating a new site. And I'm going to call this PHP. And you should find a folder for that site. And for me, I have everything under mary.mccdgm.net. So I'm going to grab this, or if you have a bunch of classes, you can specify just doing a master website for everything, which is what I typically do. But this one's just for practice. So I'm going to create a new folder for PRG148 on my computer. So I'm going to choose New Folder, PRG148, and I'm going to hit Create. And then we are in good shape. This is where everything is going to be stored for the class. So I'm going to choose that folder, and then I have to set up the server. Your server, and you hit the plus sign to do that. Server name, it depends if you're doing it for all of your digital media classes, in which case I just call it digital media. In this case, it's going to be PRG148. I'm going to use FTP. My FTP address is mary.mccdgm.net. My username is Mary. Your username should be your first initial and the first the first 7 characters, total of 8 characters of your last name. Your password you should have changed going to cPanel. That's why we did it. And you should put that in now. Now this is the important part. This is the part people get wrong. You have to put in the root directory. And it needs to be public_HTML/ and the folder name you created, which is PRG148. Be careful, because that's going to put the public HTML inside your web URL, and that actually doesn't show up, and that will break your testing server. So your web URL should be your first initial last name .mccdgm.net/PRG148, and that has the http:// in front of it. Now you can hit test. If it works well, I strongly recommend that you take a screenshot of this. On the Mac, I use the grab tool, which I think I might have saved down here, or not, but if you can just go to Applications, where's that grab? If you go to Applications and you type in grab, this is a very handy tool that is on the Mac. And this is actually it right here. It's going to have a picture of scissors. And it should be under Applications. So you want to look for, there you go, this. I drag it to my desktop here. That's the screenshot on the Mac if you're doing this at school. So you can select grab. And it will let you take a screenshot. If you're in Windows, use the snipping tool. I recommend that you do this for all of your websites. Just grab a screenshot of the tested settings because at MCC they don't save. Come on, grab. Okay. That's opening up the last one I did. That's not what I want. There we go. I wasn't paying attention. It opens up here. Grab up at the top. You can do File, Edit, Capture. You want to choose Capture Selection. And so I'm going to hold my mouse down, take a picture of this. And now I have a picture of it. And I would save that. But do not save it in the same file as your website, because you don't want to insert a picture of your settings to log in for somebody else to use. Granted, the password is hidden. I still don't recommend putting that there. Usually I will save these just to my documents or my desktop, and I would call it PRG148 settings and hit save. And so that way, if I forget my settings later, I've still got them. So I'm going to hit save, save, and done. Okay, so here's my empty site. When I'm creating a new PHP file, and your default PHP file for the whole site should be either index.html or index.php, depending if you're going to add any PHP code. So I'm going to call it index.php because we're just going to assume that. And then I'm going to set up folders for each chapter's worth of work. So I can do new folder, and I'm just going to call it 01 for chapter 1, and everything for chapter 1 will be in there. This is the way I like to organize things. New folder, that's 02, and I'd keep going one for each chapter. Now each one of these, you can give them an index file, or we're going to create a index page here that will link to each one. So I can now edit this, and I'm going to wipe it and start fresh. Even when you're doing PHP, you set it up as an HTML file. So it's going to start with your standard, and we're going to be using HTML5, so it's exclamation doc type HTML, and then you need your HTML tag, and then you need your title tag, or title, I don't know why I type tag, Mary's PHP classwork. And then you will need to close, oh, that should be in the head section. Head. And then I could put body here. If I wanted to, I could drop some PHP in here. and the body here, and the HTML. And if I wanted to, I could put some PHP in here so that there was really a need for that PHP. There we go, now it's a PHP page. And this is nice because it tells you there are no syntax errors. I really like Dreamweaver. I don't know that I would go out and buy it for this class, but Optama 3 works great as well. If you're using that, you just upload before you test. So here, if I want to test this, if I try to preview it, it's going to give me an error. I need to specify a testing server. Would you like to specify one now? Yes. Yes, I would. So this PRG148, I want to make that a testing server as well. I always forget that until it reminds me. Once it does that, it will actually load my PHP program right into my index page up here, so you can see I'm at mary.mccdgm.net PRG148. You see it's my Mary's PHP classwork, and the I Love to Program appears here. So that's all you have to do to test it, is use your testing server. Be aware that it will upload, and I just overwrote whatever I had on my index page for my other PHP site, which is not a big deal because I don't think I had anything more than this test program anyway. So that's how you test it. Be aware that it is uploading to the internet every time you test it, and that way you don't have to install a server. And so that's pretty much it. Again, index.php is going to be your default. Index.html, index.php, they open up in the default in the same way.